May 28th, 1940. Reich Air Ministry, Berlin. Reich Marshal Hermann Göring slammed down the intelligence report with undisguised contempt. The paper detailed President Roosevelt's request to Congress for an unprecedented expansion of American aircraft production. 50,000 planes every year. The Americans are desperate if they believe such propaganda will frighten us, Göring barked at his staff. They know nothing of war production. Let them try converting their automobile factories. They'll learn quickly that building warplanes demands more than assembly lines. Almost regretful. What Göring failed to see was that in Detroit, a Danish immigrant named William Knudsen was already proving him wrong. Once president of General Motors, now earning $1 a year as Roosevelt's production chief, orchestrating the most ambitious industrial transformation in human history. Within 4 years, American factories wouldn't just hit that impossible 50,000 planes annually, they'd nearly double it to 100,000, while supplying 2 theaters of war across opposite oceans. It began on May 16, 1940, as German panzers raced through France. Roosevelt stood before Congress and declared, "I should like to see this nation geared up to the ability to turn out at least 50,000 planes a year." Pause, as if hearing disbelief. The reaction? Skepticism, even among allies. In 1939, America had produced only 3,611 military aircraft. The Army Air Corps owned 1,700 combat planes, many obsolete. Yet Roosevelt demanded a 14-fold increase. William Knudsen became the architect of this miracle. When asked who could achieve such impossible production, presidential advisor Bernard Baruch responded without hesitation. First, Bill Knudsen. Second, Bill Knudsen. Third, Bill Knudsen. Knudsen had left his $300,000 salary to serve his adopted nation, bringing automotive mass production principles into aircraft manufacturing. With mounting excitement, the transformation began immediately. By December 1941, American factories churned out 2,000 military aircraft every month, a 20-fold leap from just 2 years before. The Ford Motor Company announced plans for a massive bomber plant at Willow Run, Michigan. Boeing expanded its Seattle facilities. Douglas Aircraft hired thousands. The arsenal of democracy was awakening. The Nazi leadership's dismissal stemmed from both racial prejudice and willful blindness. General Friedrich von Bechtolsheim, military attaché in Washington from 1933 to 1941, sent accurate reports describing America's growing industrial might. His December 1940 cable warned, "American war production will reach unimaginable heights." But Berlin dismissed these warnings as defeatist exaggeration. When Bechtolsheim met Hitler in February 1939 to discuss American potential, the Führer ranted about racial degeneracy instead of listening to intelligence. He proclaimed Americans half Judaized, half negrified, incapable of sustained warfare. This ideological blindness would prove fatal. The prejudice seeped through every level. Luftwaffe intelligence dismissed reports of women entering aircraft factories as signs of American desperation. They simply couldn't believe that democratic mobilization might exceed totalitarian command. Reports of factories running 3 shifts. Exaggerations, they assumed. The Nazi worldview couldn't accommodate American reality. Ford's Willow Run plant embodied that ambition. Built on farmland beginning April 18, 1941, it became the world's largest factory under one roof. 3.5 million square feet. An assembly line stretching a mile long. Charles Sorensen, Ford's production chief, promised to build 1 B-24 Liberator bomber every hour, while others managed 1 per day. Grimly acknowledging failure, the initial results? Catastrophic. The first bomber, completed in September 1942, needed complete rebuilding. Quality control failures reached 50%. By February 1943, Willow Run produced just 56 bombers monthly. Critics mocked it, calling it, "Will it run?" But Ford's engineers persevered. They broke the B-24's 488,193 parts into manageable sub-assemblies, developed hydraulic riveting tools, prefabricated wiring harnesses, and moving assembly lines. They endured 578 design changes in 1943 alone, while keeping production alive. By September 1943, monthly production reached 148 bombers. By December, 365. The breakthrough came in April 1944, when Willow Run produced 428 B-24s, 1 every 63 minutes, around the clock. This single factory outproduced the entire German aviation industry. German pilots first felt America's superiority during the Tunisia campaign. Major Johannes Steinhoff, commanding JG-77, noted in December 1942, "The American pilots are no longer amateurs. Most disturbing, there are more of them every day." The revelation accelerated through 1943. On January 27th, the first American raid on Germany itself, 64 bombers attacking Wilhelmshaven. By October, during Black Thursday at Schweinfurt, Americans could lose 60 B-17 bombers and replace them within 2 weeks. The mounting dread, the math, had become inescapable. During Big Week, February 20th to 25th, 1944, the 8th and 15th Air Forces mounted 3,500 bomber sorties against German aircraft production. The Luftwaffe lost between 262 and 355 fighters, but more critically, nearly 100 irreplaceable veteran pilots. General Adolf Galland told Göring that Germany was losing 1,200 fighters monthly, while producing only 1,000. America, meanwhile, produced 2,500 fighters monthly, while losing just 400. Major Heinz Behr, one of Germany's top aces, with 220 victories, described a January 1944 mission over Brunswick. The bomber stream stretched from horizon to horizon, at least 700 flying fortresses and liberators. We were 8 fighters against hundreds. It was hopeless, with awe and weight. By 1944, American aircraft production reached staggering heights. That year alone, factories produced 96,270 aircraft, 16,048 four-engine bombers, 35,743 fighters, and 22,591 multi-engine aircraft. But the gap went beyond numbers. Each American bomber carried 13.50 caliber machine guns, with thousands of rounds, while German fighters increasingly launched with partial loads. American bombers featured powered turrets, advanced bomb sights, and sophisticated navigation equipment, while German fighters often lacked functioning radios. Boeing's Seattle Plant 2 was producing 16 B-17s daily by May 1944. Douglas Aircraft, which employed just 68 people in 1936, had grown to 167,000 workers across 9 facilities. North American Aviation churned out 500 P-51 Mustangs monthly. Lockheed achieved 1 P-38 Lightning every 90 minutes, implementing 2,127 combat-driven modifications. Supporting industries matched the pace. General Motors produced 57,658 aircraft engines under license. Packard built 55,523 Rolls-Royce Merlin engines. Alcoa's aluminum output soared 600%. Dow Chemicals grew magnesium production from 6 million annually to 333 million. The transformation shattered Nazi assumptions. Women comprised less than 1% of aircraft workers in 1941, but by 1943 represented 65%. 310,000 women joined aircraft production. At Douglas Long Beach, 22,380 of 41,620 employees were women. Rose Will Monroe, the original Rosie the Riveter, drove 3,000 rivets per shift at Willow Run with 99.5% accuracy. Women inspectors at Douglas reduced defect rates from 3.2% to 0.3%. Ford redesigned tools for smaller hands, inadvertently improving efficiency. Lighter pneumatic tools reduced fatigue. Better positioned workstations decreased injuries. German intelligence interpreted female employment as desperation. A captured Luftwaffe report dismissed these workers as temporary, predicting quality collapse. Instead, precision improved. Women excelled at detailed work, wiring, instruments, inspection. Their integration became democratic strength, not weakness. As American production soared, Germany retreated into fantasy. Göring authorized the Jaeger program in February 1944, dispersing production into 729 underground facilities, using slave labor. The Middle Complex employed 60,000 prisoners in horrific conditions, with 20,000 dying. These underground factories produced more defects than aircraft. Slave laborers sabotaged components. Transportation between dispersed facilities caused delays. Quality control collapsed. The entire Middle Work Complex produced fewer engines monthly than Ford's single Chicago plant. Meanwhile, American innovation raced ahead. Boeing developed modular B-29 construction across 4 facilities, with completely interchangeable parts. The pressurized B-29, costing $65,000 each, incorporated technology Germany couldn't match even in prototypes. By early 1945, America was producing 100 B-29s monthly. June 6, 1944, demonstrated the culmination of American production. The invasion employed 11,590 Allied aircraft against 319 German sorties, a 36-to-1 superiority. This wasn't tactical advantage. It was industrial annihilation. With statistics, between January and May 1944, preparatory bombing dropped 145,000 tons on German targets, exceeding all German bombing of Britain throughout the war. Transport aircraft delivered 3 airborne divisions in a single day, using more planes than Germany's entire transport fleet ever possessed. With awe, by December 1944, single raids involved 1,200 bombers, escorted by 900 fighters. With pride, P-51 Mustangs, with the range to reach Poland, performance to match any opponent, and numbers making losses irrelevant. German pilots called them Indians, swarming everywhere, simultaneously. As defeat approached, Nazi leadership finally admitted the catastrophe, grimly quoting, "In December 1944, Goebbels wrote in his diary, 'Göring's promises about Luftwaffe superiority now seem criminal delusions. We fight the world's greatest industrial power with rhetoric.'" Before D-Day, Göring told his staff, "The Americans can lose 10 tanks for every one we destroy and still overwhelm us. When they land, they will come with such material superiority that no position can hold." Even Hitler admitted to Speer in January 1945, "We should have listened to Bechtolsheim's reports. Their industrial potential was decisive. While we built hundreds, they built tens of thousands." Albert Speer later testified that American bombing reduced German production by 35% for tanks, 31% for aircraft. And that is how industry, determination, and courage changed the course of history. It's amazing how the power of people working together can defeat even the darkest forces. If you enjoyed this journey, if you love uncovering stories that bring the past to life, go ahead and hit that like button. And if you want to keep exploring these incredible tales with me, subscribe to the channel so we can travel through history, one story at a time. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next story.